Lake Dallas Cheer would like to welcome you to
Falcon Football Weekly.
Taylor snapping, here we go, shine drill. Ready, set, go.
Welcome back to another installment of Falcon Football Weekly. I'm John Piper, and each and every week sit down with Coach Michael Young to get all the insight of the previous game and the upcoming games, all things going on in the Falcon football community. Welcome, Coach Michael Young.
Hey, it's good to be here.
Well, you know, we've got a live studio audience today. I didn't know if you knew that.
Nice.
A lot of fans, man, want to tune in to hear what you have to say. So very important part of the week. And we are recording this on a Sunday. It's Labor Day weekend. We were talking a little bit before we got started, Coach, that, hey, it's just business as usual. You know, during the football season, there's no such thing as a holiday, correct?
No, we business as usual. We go to church and then get up here, try to go to early services, get up here as soon as we can and get our work done. We got practice Monday morning, so we have to be ready for Centennial by tomorrow morning.
Yeah, the only difference is the kids get the school session off, the classroom session off, but that enables you to maybe get a little extra film work in with the kids, a little extra practice time. Is that right?
Yeah, and it's nice to be able to get it all done in the morning. The kids still get to have, the whole afternoon to go out with their friends or go to the lake and do whatever they do. So it's we try to get it done in the morning so they can have the whole day to go out with their buddies and their families.
And one thing we like to talk about on the show, both of us have been in this community for a long, long time, and I was out in the Lake Dallas area just last night, and everybody was setting up for a big concert going on today over there by the lake. ZZ Top and I believe Chicago are rolling into town to have a big Labor Day concert. Matter of fact, I think later this evening, right there by the lake. Any plans, you and the family or any other coaches heading over to catch ZZ Top tonight?
I think there's some coaches going to go. I know that I got offered a couple tickets to go. I would like to, but I think I'm going to take it easy at the house, and I got yard work to do today, and then probably cook out and hang out with the family and watch the OU game. We're kind of all OU fans, and our neighbors are, so quite a few of us get together and watch the Oklahoma game this evening.
Well, that sounds like a great plan. I'm going to kind of share my age a little bit, Coach, but I saw ZZ Top, probably 35 years ago in Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky. It's hard to believe they're still playing, but I hear they put on a great show.
Well, they have. I think I saw them probably close to that. It had been about 32, 33 years ago here in Dallas. So they've always been one of my favorites. Yeah,
and Coach, we were talking a little bit off air. We'll try to keep this interview short today. We're both struggling a little bit with our voice. I know with the season opener and everything you got going on with the program. You mentioned a little short on the voice there today, but I'm sure you'll get through it like you do each and every week. Speaking of that, season opener Friday night against the Denton Broncos, we talked last week, an exciting matchup to open the season, kind of becoming a little bit of a crosstown rivalry with Billy Miller and his Denton Broncos and coming in with the Lake Dallas Falcons. We talked last week about Brandon Ingle being a game-time decision due to injury. He ended up starting the game, which was exciting for all the fans, and I'm sure you as the head coach. He looked good while he was in there. Did you know earlier in the day Friday that he was good to go, or was it truly in the locker room at game time decision?
It was really probably Thursday. We had a pretty good idea he was going to play, but I don't think it was any secret to Denton. I know that I talked to Billy on Monday, and Billy had counted on him playing, so there was no really secret to it. But we kind of knew Thursday. But really, it doesn't change our game plan. Really, which the beauty of it is that we don't really have to change anything. There's a couple things we like to do differently when Moon's in there, and a lot of that really is just a couple running things that Moon is actually really good at doing that we like to use him with. And so really, the game plan doesn't change. There's not a whole lot of change in what we have to do. There's some little things here or there that we won't do with one and we will do with the other, but so it's really not a big deal for us, whichever one is in there or playing at the time.
That's part of Texas high school football, or really any sport. you got to always be ready for next man up, and you do a great job, getting your guys ready. Anybody, their number can be called at any given time. Injuries are part of the game, and it's great that you can count on Moon to come in there when you need him. Ingle starts off, connects early with the Texas Tech commit Kobe Minor on a 52-yard pass play. You take an early lead, 7-0. Then, Ingle punches in another score from, I think, about 1 yard out. Gives you a 14-13 lead at the halftime. All things being equal, probably not the best performance you were looking for, but going in halftime with a 14-13 lead, you had to be feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, it was. I think the disappointing part was we should have had it. We should have gotten control of the game. We had a short field goal that we got blocked in the first half. We should have scored a touchdown on that drive. We had a mistake, a handoff that got away from us and kicked the ball backwards, and we lost a lot of yards. We were driving to score then. And we also fumbled on a quarterback sneak on the 1 foot line on second down. So we really felt like we threw away 10 to 14 points in that half. And whenever you do that, it always seems to kind of come back and get you, and it did. But that's, some of the stuff we have to learn from, especially there in the first half.
Yeah, once you get into the halftime, the locker room, I know you don't have a lot of time to make any tweaks, adjustments to the game plan. Was there anything adjustment-wise that you and your staff made at the half, coming back out in the second half?
Well, I thought the defense did a good job. They'd hurt us with some formations in their run game. Denton High has got they are way better than they were last year. They've got the good-looking kids and the athletes, and they're playing really hard. Coach Miller has them playing hard, and I thought our defense did a good job of kind of fixing some of the problems we had against the run. I thought offensively we cleaned up some of our pass protection problems we had in the first half. So our coaches did a good job. We just had right after halftime, we had a couple more things happen to get behind, but the stuff that they fixed at halftime really worked late in the third quarter and in the fourth quarter.
Well, Coach, we talked, in the pre-season show about the challenges practicing in triple-digit heat. The good news is a front moved in, and on Friday the temperatures dropped down to the low 80s before kickoff. Got down in, I believe, the 70s once the sun set. Beautiful night for football, but the humidity did jump up a little bit. Any cramping or any physical conditioning issues that you had or that you saw?
No, Friday and night? I've seen, I watched the game Thursday night, and I saw a lot of that. We only had one guy that had any cramping problems, and that was late in the second quarter, and we didn't have really anything after that. Now, Denton High had quite a bit. We ran a lot more plays than they did, and I thought their defense got really tired, and they had some guys that cramped up, but they kept plugging away and kept fighting. But that weather did help. The change did help a little bit.
Now, you have to replace Ingle in the second half with Trevor Moon due to some injury. It's a long season. I know you don't want to risk losing Ingle, going into the district games in a couple weeks. Did you consider not bringing him back under center at all in the second half, or did you just want to see kind of how it went?
Well, it was going to be kind of out of his conditioning, and he came back out the second half, did another series, and we just didn't. He was gassed, and one thing about you don't want to do when somebody hasn't been able to get the condition the way they're supposed to, or the way they need to, is to overwork them, because they get tired, you can get dehydrated, then you can have really some injuries happen. So it just worked out that way. He got to the amount of snaps where he needed to come out, and Moon came in and did a great job.
Yeah, very efficient, in the air, and had some nice runs as well. Denton scores twice in the third quarter to take a 26-14 lead going into the fourth. Definitely gut check time for your young team. When you brought them over to the sideline there before starting the fourth quarter, any message you sent to them, because they obviously came out and played very well in the fourth quarter?
Well, it was a tough time, because that's about the time that Ingle came out of the game. Our defense had been playing great, and they hit us with a big pass play. It was well designed, a great throw and a great catch. And the next series, we have to punt, and they block a punt and get a touchdown. So they scored 2 quick touchdowns on us in a hurry. And I thought one of the best things of the night is how our young team is going to respond to adversity. You know, Ingle comes out, they scored 2 quick touchdowns. It would have been really easy for an inexperienced young team to fall apart at that time. And they responded and came back and took back the lead, and I thought played really well. It just it was really those early points in the first half that we threw away that really did us in later on in the game.
Yeah, you mentioned the resiliency of your team. They could have easily folded up, but you got to be proud of the way they fought and hung in there. You know, Moon makes a big play, 25-yard pass to Hunter Hope. Then Christian Hernandez with a huge 40-yard pick six gives you the lead. Boy, the tide had turned, and I know the Falcon fan faithful were making a ton of noise. The place was going crazy. You know, it looks like it's going to be a storybook finish for the win, but then it just didn't turn out that way.
No, it was really hard, and you know, we have some young guys in the secondary. We had a young white guy that was filling in for another young one that was banged up a little bit. So, and he was put in a tough spot. He played great the whole night. Both of our corners did, and one of our younger ones, he made a mistake. It was 3rd and long, kind of jumped a route, and it come back to hurt us. But you know, it wasn't that play that lost us the game. There was a lot of things, like I said, you can't fumble on the 6-inch line. You can't, you know, get field goals blocked and a punt block for a touchdown. Those are the things that really hurt us through the game. But so it didn't come down to that one play, but it did. But that wasn't the thing that beat us. But you know, it's a young group in the secondary that learned a very valuable lesson, and I know they won't make that mistake again.
Now, you go to overtime. As a coach, you know, you've had many overtime games in your career. Is the mindset any different game planning-wise? You know, you start basically 0-0. Are there any special plays you hold back for an overtime situation?
No, we you know, like I said, we had run so many more plays than they had. We really had them on the ropes defensively. I was kind of glad that you don't want to go first, but I kind of felt good about going first on offense because I knew their defense was in trouble, and we ran 3 running plays, 6-8 yards apiece to start it. I knew we were going to punch it in, and we get a holding call. You know, it is what it is. I don't think it was a very good call, especially in that spot of the game away from it didn't have a whole lot to do with the play. And that's really what really hurt us, that, you know, holding penalty in that point, move us back in yards, and we had to try to kick a long field goal. We'd had some, you know, our snappers knew Jackson Berry's usually our snapper. We're down to a kid we had to move up from the JV to do this week, and I think there were some problems, you know, speed-wise between the snap, the hold, and the kick all night. We get the ball tipped, we miss the field goal, and they're able to kick a long field goal to win, because I felt good about our defense holding them to a field goal attempt, and they were able to do that. But the problem is, you know, with the holding penalty and getting us moved back and missing ours, that was cost us the game.
Yeah, you mentioned offensively, you had your way with the Denton Broncos. I mean, the stat sheet is really overbalanced in Falcon favor.
Yeah.
33 first downs versus 12 for them. You have to be happy with your ground attack on 69 carries, 272 yards. You know, you balance your running attack well. And then with both quarterbacks, 239 yards passing, you got to be pleased with the offensive side. Like you said, just a couple mistakes, which happened early in the season, and you can button those things up. You got to be excited about where the Falcons are headed.
No, I definitely am. And I know it's painful to lose and it hurts. And yesterday was a miserable day for all of us. But in the end of it, and you start this morning, you start to see it more, you know, and after watching film yesterday, we're going to be all right. I was really worried about us scoring points offensively. That we haven't really been able to do it in the 2 scrimmages. I was, you know, a little concerned that, you know, we were going to really rely on our running game. Were we going to be able to run the ball? And I think Denton has a pretty good front, and so that was going to be a big test. And we ran his ball as well as we have, and I can't remember last time we had that many yards rushing in a game. So So it's really exciting to see that. We had a running back rush for 130 yards. Usually our leading rushers are our quarterbacks. So we finally,